the fruit salad.
Well, it's already here.
We use
presentation.
We
Take two.
use the word occult totally differently from what most mainstream audiences who watch this stuff do anyway. To them,
yeah, I mean there have been movies based on the occult. It doesn't necessarily mean what some people might expect it to mean. In general, I think that a lot of the creatures that I'm talking about in the presentation, werewolves, zombies, vampires, people would consider that the occult.
and they are very often, if you from a reference point of view, those things are very often lumped under a category of occult creatures because
I was thought they were monsters.
we don't know because we don't believe in them, and in that sense, I don't.
Well, obviously somebody's got to believe in them because they're there.
They came out of folklore.
That's right.
Folklore.
But
Myth.
so what?
Well, they've been Hollywoodized.
That's the point.
Well,
Yeah, that's
they've
the whole
been
point
corrupted.
I'm making is that they've been
Yeah.
Hollywoodized and corrupted, and I think that at this time, at this point, that a lot of what we see is Hollywood's version and not the folklore. The folklore just kind of disappeared.
Has
It wouldn't
been
really
lost.
be the occult. It would be more corrupted than folklore.
Yes, I use folklore.
So how much? How much of the occult creatures are really just corrupted from folklore? So, which actually comes out later in the presentation, if I remember.
Let's continue.
Okay.
Well, he's
Oh,
filming you now, so
Oh,
don't
wait a
have to
minute.
start
Go back to
over.
that other one. Now we'll just go from here.
We'll give them an idea of what's going on. And
Go back to the last one, though I didn't quite finish that. Now, over the years, the Universal model became the new legends. Studio after studio, I could go Hammer, I could go Universal Now, I could go a lot of different places. Copied the stories and idea trying to cash in on their success. Eventually, it turned out that a lot of filmmakers were hesitant to show these monsters, occult creatures, whatever you want to call them, in any different way other than Universal's style. All they did was kind of copy it over and over and over again. And they're afraid that their target audiences wouldn't identify with unknown characters.
Universal Studios.
Yes, studios. That's
Thank
what
you,
studios
because I said that to him
studios.
the
I didn't
first
put
time he
studios,
did
did
that, to make sure he pointed that out. He still didn't do it.
It's in there somewhere.
It's in there.
Are you
somewhere,
recording
just
this?
not
Good, because not studio, Universal Studios. Hi, you got me. You see me? Okay. All right, go to the next one. In the 1940s, Universal Horror, they used horror there, ate itself. They milked the classic monsters by putting them in sequel after sequel until the characters were predictable and boring. Just look at all the Mummy sequels. Oh my God, the Mummy's hand, the Mummy's eyelid, the Mummy's foot.
Mummy's buttocks.
Anyway, this process was repeated over and over again by other studios who mimicked Universal Studios' formula.
there was an Andy Warhol movie.
I'm sure.
Called The Mummy's
Testicles. I didn't think of it. He did.
Yeah, buddy.
I just threw it out there. I didn't even know that.
I'm kidding. I was looking at the concept of that being a movie and said, well, who would do it? Andy Warhol. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm done with the slide.
Next.
I don't think anybody needs to be told what these pictures are.
Boris.
Not so far.
Example 1, vampires and werewolves.
Werewolf.
Twilight Saga.
The vampire is the perfect example of a fairy tale, folklore, occult creature, character that, when filtered through the mass media machine, comes out bearing little or no resemblance to its legendary calculator
Legendary calculator.
counterpart in folklore. And you mentioned that I might not want to use mass media so much.
Yeah.
Because what does it really mean? My clicker has gone.
Mass media.
Well, maybe
is
he has to go.
everything.
I'm getting dessert.
He got his glasses.
Oh.
Even while I was over there dishing, I was listening.
Mass media, is that like a media church?
No. It's supposed to mean
No, it's
television,
non-denominational.
movies,
okay.
you know, that type of thing. Television, the media. Now then,
All of it.
And
You didn't get a biscuit?
I didn't want.
most of not all, if not all, the characteristics from movie vampires were created by Bram Stoker for his novel Dracula, which was then adapted to the screen by Todd Browning for the use in the 1931 film.
Where do I know that name? Todd Browning. Todd Browning's
In
Freak.
Dracula.
Todd Browning's Freak Humor.
Todd Browning directed Freaks, too, in 1932.
Yes, he did.
It's a line from a song. I have to think about that. Okay, go ahead.
Now, the idea of this vampire is so ingrained in Western culture that we still have the same filtered down view from Universal, now some 70 years old.
It's ingrained with an eye.
Ingrained.
One eye.
Ingrained.
Phew, I see why you killed there. It killed you.
Ingrained there.
Holy fudge nipples.
That's a...
Why do those sound good?
It's gonna be an interesting presentation that you get to view, Andy.
I know. I just hope I don't all of a sudden say fudge nipples in the middle of a pagan pride. Probably not for
It'll
well.
be Brown says, holy fudge nipples!
Somebody's gonna say where?
Now,
Sounds good!
this I don't even have to look at the slide. I know what's going on here. This
There's
is
the pangolin.
this is the Penanggalan. It's a Malaysian vampire. What happens is that when a woman is disturbed in deep prayer by a loud noise, her head and entrails pop off of her body, and goes flying around, and it kind of, what do you call it? It drops this noxious fume and noxious liquid that pretty much grows these terrible looking plants.
Comes out of entrails.
Definitely do not disturb a woman in prayer.
Yes. And what she does is she sucks babies out of women's wombs. That's what the Penanggalan.
Gynecologist.
That's a vampire in
Proportion.
that's a vampire in Malaysia.
See, now we're getting into folklore that we are proud that we in this culture are not necessarily.
Now the aversion to sunlight or the sign of the cross, two very popular ways of being rid of vampire, but it's not always a telltale sign. This is the Lang Sur, also of Malaysia. They can lead very normal lives. They can attend church services. They can even bear young. But the thing about this vampire is they let their hair grow long on the back of their neck. So it covers a mouth that they have right here at the base. And they use that mouth to suck the blood from babies. All you have to do to defeat this vampire is stuff that hair back into its neck. And the woman would be able to live a normal life again.
How
It's vampire.
how do they do that?
How do they do what? Suck blood from the babies with the...
Yeah.
Just pick them up.
We haven't actually heard any. We didn't grow up with these stories.
I haven't actually...
They're Malaysian.
Next.
This is the Shanxi. It's called the hopping vampire of China. It says driving a stake through a corpse's heart might work in the movies, but rarely ever holds true to folklore. Now there are a lot of different ways that a vampire can be thwarted. You bury the dead at a crossroads, engage them in a staring contest, putting a pair of scissors under your pillow, pointing your shoes in the opposite direction from the door, coughing, no,
That sounds like feng shui.
or by pressing a piece of paper to the vampire's forehead, this one. If you press a piece of paper to its forehead, that stops him. But if it falls off again, then he comes back to life and he kills you.
That's why you super glue it.
And the reason they're called the hopping vampire is because they're so stiff due to the rigor mortis process, that all they can do is really just hop around like this. There's a movie actually that a guy named James Ralph did as a review of a movie made in China about this vampire, and he like criticizes it to death. But it's like, we don't have these creatures in our culture, so of course we don't really.
We can't identify.
We can't identify
that as being a vampire. We say that no, that's wrong. That's not a vampire.
Okay. While some vampires do hunt only at night, they do not necessarily keep a mortal form. This is the sequoia of the Dominican Republic. What it does is it sheds its skin and turns into a ball of light that kind of flies around and kills people. And also we have the elk of Germany, which appears as some sort of a weird-looking creature with one eye, and haunts women in their dreams. Werewolves are another favorite occult creature portrayed in film and mass media. Again, unfortunately, the hybrid creatures seen in most films bear little resemblance to werewolves as they originally appeared in folklore and legend.
There's a picture of a shaman.
Most modern werewolf films, creatures are given very brief explanations, if anything, out of folklore. Main draws the transformation sequence, which is usually just a way to show off how advanced special effects have become. This is
Eddie.
This is Eddie.
Thriller.
Eddie is a very famous werewolf. I don't know if you know Mr. Eddie, but
Yeah, he goes out with Iron Maiden a lot.
Eddie Munster?
well, no, that's Eddie from the Howling, the original Howling, actually.
Not that.
Unconcerned with the physical impossibility of a man turning into a hybrid werewolf, filmmakers use the transformation sequences as a way to draw in more of an audience and make more money.
Drain more money,
Drain
yeah.
more money.
Yeah, drain more money, basically.
Drain the money from the populace.
Like in Thriller, the transformation sequence takes like 6 minutes.
That's
from
that's about half of the whole thing.
That's all they do now. Is the transformation has become what werewolf movies are about now. There's little or no real plot to the movie at all. Like Werewolf. Can you explain to me what the point of that movie was? Werewolf. The 1990, the ones that MST3K did.
Werewolf.
Werewolf. It was a terrible film. It had no plot whatsoever.
Okay, it was MST3K. That's
Well,
the whole
yeah,
thing.
But
There is no point to it. It's just to make fun of the movie.
no, the movie itself that they
Why
were
did they make
reviewing
the
didn't have
movie?
any plot.
Nobody
Yes.
makes a movie just for
Yes.
MST3K.
But when MST3K does their thing, they improve it.
Oh.
Oh,
It's better when they do their thing.
Hopefully.
Usually.
Although me and Ginger were saying that we wouldn't mind watching Jack Frost without
I
the
like
MST3K.
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost was good too.
I'll tell you what I really watch a lot. Hamlet.
Hamlet,
Hamlet.
Laurence Olivier.
They had no.
Is that a small ham?
They have a bad black and white, made for TV, German version of Hamlet that MST3K spoofs. But I gotta admit, I like it. I like it.
I
One
like
of the
watching-
Doctor Who actors played Hamlet. That's
Peter
Peter Davidson?
Davidson?
No.
Tom,
Very
what's
good.
his
Tom
name?
Baker or Tom Collins?
Not Baker.
Baker was in what movie? We were watching a version of Frankenstein. Tom
Oh, he
Baker
was
was
also
in it.
in
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes.
But then, hey, you're skipping slides about me even doing it. Yes. There are many different ways in folklore to become a werewolf, and very few of them depend on a physical transformation or the full moon.